If you were a collector just before the hobby boom of the 1980s, the mere sight of the 1984 Topps baseball cards probably made your tummy flip or your ticker twitch. Back then, our foreheads were just damp with the first bit of moisture that would develop into Rickey card fever, and we had also yet to see a Fleer or Donruss set that could really compare with any Topps issue. All of that would change in a flash thanks to Del Strawberry Don Mattingly rookie cards in all three 1984 sets, and especially thanks to the scarcity and beauty of the 1984 Donruss. But whenever the crush of our frenzied hobby got too much, we'd always retreat to the comfort of Topps. To help us bring back just a touch of those hallowed days, here is a quick rundown of the 10 most valuable cards from the 1984 Topps baseball set. It's not every year that three living legends retire at the same time, but that was the case in 1983, the final season for Johnny Bench, Gaylord Perry, and Carl Yastrzemski. And while Topps wouldn't budge from their tactic policy of not creating career capper cards for guys they knew wouldn't be playing in any given year, they did design to give us a nice tribute of the three great gents. Bench was actually only in his mid-30s. These aren't the greatest picks ever, but it sure was good to get at least one last look at these future Hall of Famers on soft brown Topps cardboard. Today, this card sells for $1 to $2 raw and up to around $30 in PSA 10 copies. I've already written about Don Mattingly a fair piece, but that's only because he's maybe the single most important player with the single most important Rickey card in terms of shaping the modern hobby to ever grace the slab of cardboard. While this Topps rookie card never quite lived up to Mattingly's monstrous 1984 Donruss rookie, it was and is a hobby favorite. These days, the 1984 Topps Mattingly can be yours for just a few bucks ungraded, with PSA 9 copies running at around $30 and PSA 10 stretching towards $200. Back in the 80s, Topps team leader cards were always disappointing pulls. You wanted solo cards. You wanted your favorite players, not duos featuring Anthony Hammaker and Jeff Leonard. But every once in a while, you pulled a leader card like this one, showing Nolan Ryan and Jose Cruz, and wondered, should I add this to my Nolan Ryan collection? Pete Rose for me, but then this Ryan wouldn't fit in with my Charlie Hustle stash, would it? All these years later, when Ryan rules many of the sets in which he appeared, most collectors seem to have answered that question with a big old yes. Anyway, this colorful combo will set you back less than $1 in raw and maybe $10 in PSA 9. Entering the 1984 season, there was nothing hotter in the hobby than this Topps Darryl Strawberry rookie card. Not everyone could get their hands on a Strawberry 1983 Topps traded card after all. After torching National League pitching during his Rookie of the Year campaign in 1983, Strawberry looked destined for greatness, and he achieved that lofty goal, for a while at least. Things never seemed quite the same for this superstar after he helped the New York Mets win the 1986 World Series, but he still put together a star-level career and remains popular in the hobby, especially with us oldsters. Strawberry's first base Topps card goes for just $1 or so ungraded, but can still reach $50 or more in perfect 10 condition. By 1984, Rickey Henderson had begun to shake his status as just a speedster, as we all began to realize just how special and complete he was. That summer would also be his last in Oakland, version 1, and his move to the New York Yankees would help raise Rickey's profile in the game and the hobby. Then, as he closed in on the all-time stolen base record in 1991, he pulled all his cards up, up, and away. This sneaky Rickey card is a great snapshot of his early career days and sells for about $1 raw, close to $10 in PSA 9, and upwards of $30 in PSA 10. Just about every list like this of most valuable baseball cards from the 60s, 70s, or 80s is going to include Pete Rose. That's because no matter what you think of the man, the fact remains that he is baseball's all-time hits leader, and he helped light the hobby on fire as he ran towards and past Ty Cobb. This 1984 Topps card, Pete's last with the Philadelphia Phillies, is a $1 item ungraded and about $15 in PSA 9 and north of $30 in PSA 10. Like Rose, Nolan Ryan usually sits towards the top of just about any set he's in. See the Astros leaders card before. This particular pasteboard shows the Ryan Express reared back and ready to slam home a pitch for the Houston Astros. Assuming this photo was snapped in 1983, that's the same season that he, Perry, and Steve Carlton passed Walter Johnson's all-time strikeout record. At the time, it was iffy who would land on top for good, and many thought the K title would ultimately reside with Carlton. No. This card, which turned out to be more mid-career than Twilight for Ryan, sells for about $1 raw, but can run 50 plus in PSA 10 condition. In 1982, Cal Ripken Jr. won the American League Rookie of the Year award. In 1983, he won the American League MVP award and helped the Baltimore Orioles to the World Series victory over the Phillies. So yeah, Cal was a hot commodity when this card came out. Another MVP award, 3,000 plus hits, 400 plus home runs, and the streak did nothing to cool him down. This third-year Cal card sells for $1 to $2 today ungraded, with PSA 9 copies changing hands closer to $10 and 10s encroaching on $30 territory. Mike Schmidt is simply the greatest third baseman of all time, and one of a couple handful who are in the discussion for top 10 or 12 or whatever your number is overall. In 1984, Schmidt was 3 years removed from what most expected would be his last National League MVP season, but the old man had plenty more gas left in the tank. When all was said and done, Schmidt had added the 1986 National League MVP to his trophy case and retired in 1989 with 548 dingers. Schmidt's cards remained solid across the board, with this one generally selling in the range of $1, $10, and $25 for raw, PSA 9 and PSA 10 copies respectively. Even though we were right on the brink of rookie card fever in 1984, the game was stuffed to the gills with all-time greats climbing their way towards historic achievements. To capitalize on this trend, Topps cranked out a subset of career leaders that featured the top 3 guys in various batting and pitching categories in each league. These were awesome cards, even if they weren't all that popular at the time. As the years have passed, though, we all seem to have grown an appreciation for any vintage cards of our childhood heroes, and these cardboard rectangles have gained some steam. I could have picked just about any subset for inclusion here, but the National League Active Career Hits Leaders features Pete Rose in the middle, flanked by Rusty Staub and Tony Pettis. Lots of fodder for a Cincinnati Reds homer like me, and who doesn't love Le Grand Orange? This underrated classic sells for around $1 raw most days and up to $20 in PSA 10. Like our video? Then like our video and subscribe to our channel, waxpackgods.com.